Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back to the show. We are excited to have Jessica Jack back with us again. We apologize, I said, for my technical difficulties, but Jessica Van Antwerp is joining us here. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing good now, feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
Would you mind introducing yourself to our listeners, please?
Sure. My name is Jessica Van Antwerp. I am the owner and CEO of Integral Travel. We're a company that provides resources and retreats for personal and planetary wellness.
Beautiful. And there's a lot to that. That's
Yeah.
integraltravel.com. Just want to point that out. We're talking wellness retreats. We're talking coaching. What did you have in mind for us today?
Well, nothing specific. Just we're entering fall.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, it's crazy how fast time flies. So just getting ready for a couple upcoming events that we have going on. We're doing a fall equinox mini retreat here locally in outside of Boulder, Colorado, at my home in Lyons. And
Wonderful.
yeah, so we're just combining kind of my skills as a facilitator, as a guide, to do some meditation and set intentions for the coming season. My husband is an amazing cook, so he's going to be cooking an amazing vegetarian 4-course meal, and we'll finish the evening with a fire ceremony to sort of burn away anything that we don't want to take into hibernation with us through the winter. So this time of fall is a time where, like in nature, energy is dropping. Right. So trees are losing their leaves, like all the plants that are on the ground are starting to die off. And this is, of course, in the places where that have seasons, but not necessarily in like tropical climates. But so I think, one of the premises and the tenets that we bring into all of our whole philosophy around wellness is living more in harmony with the cycles of nature, and really taking those cycles as guidance for how we can live our lives and go through the cycles of busyness and craziness and outward energy of summer, and then as the fall is sort of, as nature is again dropping that energy, then we can follow suit to prepare to go into hibernation and sort of slow down for the winter months and conserve energy, and then really feel primed and pumped for the next year as spring kind of calls us to emerge from that hibernation, and we've stored all this energy and generated all this energy during the winter, and then we can go kind of expend that through the rest of the year, as opposed to, I think, what our culture demands of us in the West is just moving at this breakneck speed, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, so yeah, really.
So how does it affect? So the season changing, good point. I never thought about it. So we are depleting energy. You're right. Things around us are losing energy. What about humans? How does it work with us? How does it affect us besides nature? And
Yeah, I mean, it affects us in a similar way. Particularly, I mean, I think it's dependent upon where you live and
yeah,
what that climate is like, sort of triggering you to do. If you do live in a more tropical climate, where there aren't really necessarily seasons, but there is, in those kinds of climates, there is a more even split between day and night throughout the year. You don't get these drastic changes in the length of the days. So I live in the mountains of Colorado, and here in the winter, it's dark by 4:30, and it doesn't get light until like 7:30 in the morning. So that's
really?
yeah, so
Wow.
that's 15 hours of darkness, and then that leaves 9 hours of daylight versus a 12-12 daylight and nighttime as you get closer to the equator. That's just kind of like steady throughout the year. So the nighttime is the energy of the yin and the feminine, and it is triggering us to go inwards, to be more contemplative, to slow down, to sleep more, just as nature does. And the daytime is the yang time, or the masculine time. And so it's this energy of outward, being focused on the world and the things out there and the things I need to do. And so in the summer, here in Colorado anyway,
Wow.
that day night split that I just mentioned is flipped opposite. So
Wow.
it doesn't get dark until like 9:30,
Oh
but
my gosh.
and then it gets light again at like 5:15 in the morning. So we're talking about maybe 8 hours of nighttime and that 15 hours of daytime. So that is the time when that daytime, that yang energy is really calling us outwards and asking us to engage and spread out our energy and go to this social event and that social
Yeah.
event and, do this and do that. And so really kind of tuning into that, even that daily cycle of rest and activity as triggered by days and nights, then can also be translated and spread out, stretched out over that yearly kind of seasonal cycle. And just being more in tune with that can just help your overall mentality. It can help your natural sense of energy. It can decrease your dependence on caffeine and coffee to kind of maintain this breakneck speed, all year round. And so you'll find that you just have more natural energy. Maybe you sleep better, uh, and
Wow.
these kinds of things. Yeah.
This is great. Yeah, because we're in New York, so we have the changing of the seasons. It's back to school time, and it just
Mhm.
feels, as of yesterday, it just felt different. I felt this
Yeah.
cool little air, and I'm like,
Yeah.
is that it? And then next thing you
That's
know,
it.
we're gonna have our fall foliage. But it does
Right.
spring and summer. Number two, number one is fall for me. I love the way fall just makes me feel. My body feels
Yeah.
so. I don't know, recharged. I like it. Maybe I'm slowing
Yeah.
down more, but I love whatever it's doing.
Yeah.
So
Good. Yeah.
so now you have this, you're doing this one with your husband?
Yes. Yeah. This is the first one of its kind. He was really wanting to get involved in the in the whole retreat scene. So we I started this series of mini retreats in June. So this will be our third, and then we're going to be planning kind of monthly little mini retreats, just to build local community here in Colorado and get people engaging. They're really special times. It's amazing how quickly you can change your
Yeah,
whole sort of energy, your whole system, and just feel refreshed and rejuvenated and more joyful in less than 4 hours.
great. So what other retreats do you have going on to other people out there who may want to join?
Yeah, we have a retreat coming up in October to Hawaii, and I'm super excited about this one. I've never been to Hawaii myself, but I do have a colleague from I've known her for over a decade that she moved to Hawaii about 10 years ago, and so she's my on the ground contact there and sort of facilitating our journey based on the inside scoop of a local, you know what I mean. So she can give us all the advice about like what to do and what not to do and what's worthwhile. But yeah, we're going to be, I mean, all of our retreats are anchored in daily mindfulness practices, yoga and meditation and qigong, and that lends itself to really that slowing down. Because it's easy to go on vacation and just be consumed and overwhelmed by all the doing.
And then you
uh,
come home and you need another vacation.
Exactly.
It
You need
doesn't
like
make sense.
right, exactly. So the mindfulness practices that we employ and incorporate into the retreats are for that purposeful slowing down and kind of gaining perspective and giving you space to just think about your life and what's going on in your life and what you might like to change and what's working for you and what your goals are for the future, because we don't often zoom out in that way. To say we just get caught up in like the momentum of the going and doing, and
Yep.
then so it takes those concentrated moments to kind of step back and say, okay, what do I want to accomplish in this next season, for example? What do I want to accomplish in this next year? What are my 5-year goals? And so then having that as your anchor of tuning into your spirit's calling or your heart's true desire to guide your decisions and guide your actions in those coming months and years, so that you can accomplish your dreams and pursue your goals and build the life that you really want to. Um, so in addition to those daily mindfulness practices, then we always have nature-based activities that are, specific to our destinations. So in Hawaii, we're going to be having a lot of water time.
And what part of
Um,
Hawaii is this in, by the way?
we're on the Big Island of
Okay.
Hawaii
Okay.
in Kona.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So we will be taking a 1 day trip kind of around the island and then going to this night market that I think, mostly locals know about. It's not really like a big tourist spot, but where artisans just kind of sell their wares, and there's live music and there's food booths. And so it's just a nice way to spend an evening. And we'll be sitting in, so that same day, we'll be sitting in some natural hot ponds, like hot springs, basically warmed by the volcanic activity that underlies all the islands. Um, we'll be taking surfing lessons, having a snorkeling adventure in one of the most amazing snorkeling spots in the world, definitely on the islands. And then the sort of capstone of the whole trip, what I'm most excited about is a swimming with dolphins adventure.
Yep, which can, I mean,
Yeah.
that is amazing, right? Become so
Yeah.
close with one with nature. It's, yeah, I've done that before in the Bahamas many years ago. It was so
Oh, wow.
fascinating. Like coming together with this, do I call it a mammal? It's a mammal, right?
I
Right.
think it's a mammal. Yeah.
See, I'm like a mammal. I don't want to call it a fish, but yeah, it was so amazing.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. Tell us about that. How was that for you?
It was, I mean, I have pictures, so my mind goes back to me being in the tank with it, but just to touch it and feel it, and it was so like I feel like it was smiling and it's so happy. It was like a human being, but you just don't
Yeah.
think of them that way because they're not like us, they don't communicate like us. But it was so nice knowing that there's this life that is so not us, but it is us. It's the same, it's the one, but we're just so different. But they're
Yeah.
so smart, and how they listen to the trainers, and then for the food, for the call, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's interesting that you did it in like a zoo or like a
It was
water park.
at the Atlantis in the Bahamas.
Oh, okay.
It was like a day trip, yeah, to go and to do that with
Okay, cool. So we're going to be in the ocean.
you're gonna do like the real life wild
These are
ones.
wild ones. These are
Whoa,
wild
wait, I didn't know
dolphins.
this.
Yeah.
But they're just
Yeah.
as friendly, right?
Yeah, exactly. They are just as friendly, and they swim up to you. And I think that they're some of the only other species on the planet that I believe that they mate for life. Someone
Hmm.
correct me if I'm wrong, like
I
make a
don't know.
comment
I
on
don't
the
know either.
YouTube or
Yep.
whatever. But I do know that they have sex for pleasure.
They
I
do.
don't
So
know.
they're human-like.
Yeah, I don't know how I know that, but that's one of the little like trivia facts that I know about dolphins. One of the
Wow.
few other species on the planet that does that, and not solely for procreation.
Got it. Wow.
Yeah,
And the importance of though getting together with nature in a sense, clearly doing what you're doing with the whole retreat, but that is just above and beyond. Awesome.
yeah,
So people
yeah.
can still get tickets to join you. Is there still availability? How do we find you?
Yeah, we still have a handful of spots left. Integraltravel.com, INTEGRAL travel.com. So that's where you can sign up for our newsletter and find out about those spots available for the Hawaii retreat. And I know that this episode is going to be re-aired, so that if you're listening to this after this date passes,
Yeah.
please go to the website anyway, because we have other retreats coming up as well. There's one in March of 2023 to Thailand, to a really special spot in the middle of a national forest in the middle of Thailand called Jungle Yoga. And this is a place where you can't you can't go by
What?
yourself. Yeah, you have to be part of a retreat that is being hosted at
And
that facility.
what is this one?
This one is
Gosh.
this one takes a 45-minute speedboat ride to get to this facility. There are no roads to this facility. So there's also lots of water energy in this retreat, but we're on
Amazing.
a lake, and we are going to be spending 7 nights and 8 days living in this little kind of U-shaped village that's all made out of bamboo and is actually floating on the lake. So I remember the first time I was there a few years ago, it was such an interesting sensation going to sleep and feeling like gently rocked by the movement of the water in the lake, and just hearing the sounds of the jungle. So there's no Wi-Fi there. So it's this one is
Good.
a digital detox to kind of totally get you out of the mindset
Yeah.
of checking your phone every however often you do it for notifications, or getting interrupted by every little pop-up on your smartphone, which I'm totally guilty of too. I'm a business owner, I'm a very busy
Yeah.
woman, and so that's why it's even more important to step away for a little while. And it's what's really fascinating too is that first couple of days, noticing your tendency to like reach for the phone and then be like, oh, I can't do anything with it unless you want to like write a note or take a picture, like I can't check Facebook, I can't check my email, I can't send a text to somebody, I can't post my experience online so that everybody knows that it's real, or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to wait. And so it really brings you into the present. And for those of us who, were born in the 80s or before, we may have fond memories of our childhood and what that was like of just not having the internet to
Oh,
connect us
it
to
was
the entire
amazing.
world.
Yeah.
And yeah, and,
Amazing.
and
Yeah.
just yeah, engaging person to person. And so yeah, that's a really special experience. And so you're just kind of lulled to sleep by the sounds of the jungle. And then every day we do our mindfulness practices, and then we do lots of lounging and swimming, and we do arts and crafts projects and sort of spontaneously see what arises, with all of these options for taking a kayak out on the lake, or taking a small hike across a little finger of land to a neighboring lake, and then going and exploring that lake. And there's a cave over off of that lake that we go and explore, and just play with darkness and sound and silence. And
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
I took
So
my kids are away. They're 5 and 7. So they went with my aunt and uncle upstate. And I said, absolutely no iPads. It's like a 4 hour ride. Like, please. I'm like, no, enjoy
yeah,
the nature, go quadding, go, fishing, go on the
yeah,
Zoom buggy, enjoy like a kid again. They do have cable
yeah,
now. They never had cable, but so they can watch some TV. But
yeah,
what a difference, all right? Like, and
yeah,
they did this a few months ago, the same thing, and they came back so nice.
yeah,
I
yep.
really find people, especially children, just so into that. It's just it's ruining them.
Yeah, I mean, it's really causing this sort of. I read a headline the other day that popped up on Apple News, that it was just like the silent pandemic of ADHD. And I've been seeing a lot of posts from
Uh-huh.
friends uh, that are older. We're adults now, friends on Facebook that have been diagnosed with adult ADHD, and I do think it's related to all of the media and the technology, that it didn't pop up when we were kids, because we didn't have the same distractions all day every day. And it's really changing the way that our brains function. It's really changing our ability to focus, our ability to stay still and just be. And it's really affecting our creativity as well, I think, because in those moments of like boredom, quote unquote, your mind gets to just like wander and play. But if your mind is constantly engaged and distracted by this notification and that notification, you're popping over to this website and that website, then it really stifles your ability to sort of just let your mind wander. And that's when really brilliant things can happen. So
Integral travel.
yeah.
Yay, she's
Yeah.
here. And I love there's just a calmness, energy about you that you always have. See, I don't have
Oh,
that.
thanks.
I'm very anxious and what and for those new listeners out there or viewers, getting to know you, tell me a little bit about what brought you here, because you are in such a place of calm. Were you always like this?
No, no. In fact, I would describe myself as a very anxious person, actually.
Okay.
But I did grow up with just sort of like a kind of like low level anxiety that has gone through, all of my relationships and my interactions, and that just has to do with, I think, just my emotional wounds from childhood and things like that. So I have done a lot of work to become this person that you see before you, or that you're listening to. And even that, I think, a lot of times is like maybe a veneer. But I do these practices, my meditation and qigong and massage, and so I am a massage therapist as my kind of day job, and then retreats are sort of sporadic throughout the year. And so I was having a conversation with a colleague a few years ago, like, okay, there's such a small fraction of people
Yeah.
that can say that they love their job, right? But there's even a smaller fraction of that fraction that can say not only they love their job, but their job is good for them. So being a massage therapist for me almost requires me to be relaxed and calm for my clients so that I can take them into a place of relax and calm. And I've noticed that on the days when I feel like I have a million things to do, like administratively or on the computer, or when that to do list is sort of piling up, that I may not start out as relaxed and calm when my client walks through the door, but within 5 or 10 minutes of like putting my hands on this person's body and starting to work with their energy and their body, then I calm down as well. And that just speaks to the power of touch. That there are more and more scientific studies that are showing that touch
Hmm.
has a calming effect on your nervous system. It slows your heart rate, it slows your breath rate, it triggers your brain to release serotonin and dopamine and oxytocin and all of these happiness hormones. So it's being studied for its effect on depression. It's being studied for its effects on PTSD and just hyperactive state on anxiety. So touch, therapeutic, nurturing touch is a really valuable and I think underrated part of life. And that is something that we also incorporate into all of our retreats is some sort of body work and healing touch so that our participants can really feel the benefits of that as part of their whole experience. So
Nice.
yeah.
How many retreats do you do a year?
Well, that's a good question because we're growing, and so we're increasingly offering more. But obviously, coming out of the pandemic, we've had a 3-year hiatus of not running any retreats. We had 3 retreats scheduled in 2020 that were all going to be super successful, and it was like the business was really gaining momentum. I was really excited, and then the pandemic hit and we had to cancel all of them. And then the next year it just kind of wasn't the time. We did schedule some retreats for the fall of 2021, but people weren't ready yet. And then like the Delta wave hit, and so we had kind of the original wave of the pandemic was waning at the beginning of the summer of 2021, and we all thought like, okay, it's over. So everybody went out and started partying and acting like it was over. But then that's when the Delta variant hit, and so we ended up having to cancel those 2021 retreats as well. But so this Hawaii one is the first one that we will run in 3 years, and we're so excited that it's going to be a successful retreat. And we have one on the book so far for 2023, with a couple others like incubating. I'm currently in the process of finding partners. And either resorts that want to work together or teachers that want to work together. So if you're listening to this and you are one of those people that want to work together, feel free to contact me. I love collaborating with other people. And I particularly, I want to use Integral Travel as a platform to lift up and promote other people in the health and wellness industry who have healing messages and skills that they want to share with other people. I don't want the business to be kind of all about me. I want it to be about everyone else. I want to take care of the logistics and be sort of behind the scenes, So I'm always looking for people and organizations to partner with. So yeah, contact me, Jessica@integraltravel.com, and let me know if you have an idea for a retreat.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah,
Is
so we're
there a,
looking to run 3 to 5 a year in the coming
okay.
years.
And
Yeah.
tell me do you have a dream one out there that you haven't done yet that you really want to plan? I mean, not that
So
it's set in
many
stone
dream
yet,
ones.
but like, is there
Yeah.
something you want to mention to us?
Well, there's so many dream ones, and that's like one of the things that I love about this business is particularly like the
You
the
can.
ideation, like in the creativity of like, what do we want to create? Where do we want to
Yeah.
go? But I really, because of, the nature is one of our tenets of wellness that we like to incorporate. I really want to do some nature-based ones. So I've never seen the Aurora Borealis, and I think that would be just an incredible experience to have a retreat themed around that.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah. I really, I want to do some ocean cleanup. I love scuba diving. And so I want to go clean up some coral reefs and help take some of the trash out of the oceans. I would love to go to Japan. I would love to go to, I mean,
And I look at all
there's
these like travel bloggers, and I just like I'm
I
living
know,
vicariously through them. I do on social media. A lot of my people that I look at, I see, and I'm like, wow, I'm living through them. How are they doing this? I'm like,
I
you have to
know.
have a lot of money. You're getting paid to do this, but it seems so and social media is not everything that it seems, but it's like that's the life I want. I want peace. I want calm. I want to see and live and
Yeah,
explore. Life is so
yeah,
precious, right?
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I would love to go to the Sacred Valley in Peru. Had a friend mention that. I think it was just
Oh,
yesterday.
I don't even know the
Um,
Sacred Valley in Peru, to be honest.
I just have seen a sticker with a picture
Okay,
of it, and I was
okay.
like, okay. I mean, I'll go there. I mean, there's very few places in the world that I don't want to go, essentially. But just finding the people who want to go with us and experience that, as a group and with other people who are pumped by travel and interested in personal health and how that is reflected in planetary health and wellness also.
Beautiful. Thank you. So, Jessica,
Yeah.
if we want to reach out to you about one of your retreats, contact you, would you mind sharing again how we do that?
Yeah. Integraltravel.com is the best way to connect with us over all the platforms. It has links to all of our socials. It has a contact form where you can send me an email directly. But again, my email address is jessica@integraltravel.com. We're on Facebook and Instagram as integral.travel. Twitter, we're IT_adventures. And we're also on LinkedIn, and we have a channel on YouTube as well with a lot of really helpful informational videos to just help you boost your vitality and your immune system with easy to incorporate things on a daily basis.
Great. Well, thank you so much. You have a great day. And
Thanks,
to all of our
Jill. You
listeners
too.
as well, we'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.